Alrighty, welcome back everybody. I am Carex and we are at war with Byzantium and with their ally Serbia, but we have decimated their armies. We can go into this tab at any time, right? The war screen, and we can see that they have no army. They have no infantry, they have no cavalry, they have no cannons. They do have a navy of 2 light ships, 8 galleys, and 6 transports, and that just saves us from having to go to Ledger, right? And having to go in here and search for Byzantium and so on and so forth, right? So search here and find their, this is actually army quality numbers, right? But we could actually go into the actual army tab here. See, they have no troops going on. They have manpower, they just don't have anywhere to raise the army, right? They have no land. They're being sieged on Constantinople. All of this is occupied by us, so you can only raise troops in your own controlled territory. Now, it is true that once this falls, once Constantinople falls, their navy is going to be dislodged. Their navy will be dislodged, and it is going to be a battle here in the Sea of Marmar, basically. And hopefully we don't want to lose any ships with this battle. They do still have a very powerful navy, although I'm not particularly impressed by their 1-2-3 general. We have our admiral. We have a 1-2-1. That is still better than ours, but I think we'll be okay here because we have more ships. This is a tax modifier guy, right? He's a level of skill 2. Our administrative advisor would leave the court. Our administrative advisor is a half cost dude. He's really good. We don't want him to leave the court. We're just going to lose some legitimacy, unfortunately. So our basically thematically, right, we're a Sunni country, and we have elected a Jewish administrative advisor, and that's causing a little bit of tension. That's why that event popped up, because that's a little bit like people are like, what the heck? And it's reducing our legitimacy to have him in office. But you know what? We are a future-looking, we are a future-forward Ottoman Empire here, and we don't have any issue with that guy being in power. He's doing a good job for us. He's doing a good job for us, and we'll if our people believe that we have less legitimacy because he's in power, we'll just have to deal with that. So we're going to move towards mysticism here because of this particular event, which we don't have a choice. It's just something's happening. We're moving towards our mysticism. Not great. Kind of unfortunate, but there you go. We have sieged Constantinople. It has fallen. The naval battle has happened. And it looks like we haven't lost any ships. They're losing a lot of morale here. They're getting wiped out. It looks like a siege over in Serbia is also... We just completely decimated their fleet. We completely decimated their fleet. Unfortunately, from what I can tell, we mostly just stole a bunch of transports. I don't know if we actually need this many cogs. What we could do is we could take some of these cogs and we could try to sell them to another nation. Because I think we're over our naval force limit pretty significantly at this point, right? We're at 33 out of 29. Now, actually, our naval force limit, to be fair, naval force limit is going to bounce back a little bit due to the fact that we're taking land in this war. There we go. We are 100%. We have a 100% war goal. We have completely sieged these guys out entirely. They have no military. They have no land. We get to determine exactly what happens in this peace deal. We just have a mission here. Naval research went wrong or something. We're just going to lose a little prestige there because I don't feel like spending diplomatic points on something so silly. Okay, here we go. This is a gold province. We remember that. We could take that for some diplomatic points, just because that's kind of sneaky. It's kind of interesting. This would also be kind of potentially just a strategic position there to get more coastline and to actually bump up against Ragusa. And to solidify this region more. We don't technically have any reason to go to war with these guys right now, right? We don't have any casus belli. It could be really interesting to take their gold province, though. This is a very valuable province. It could be worth doing that. I'm kind of curious exactly what happens if we just take the stuff that we are owed, that we are like rightfully owed here. We take all of this. Wowzers. We kind of can and we kind of can't, right? It's saying there's a coalition issue here. Byzantium's the only one that's going to care, though. In fact, we could just wipe out Byzantium here It looks like Albania is going to care, but, you know, we just beat up Albania. They don't really account for much, unfortunately. I hate to say it, Albania. In fact, we could just attack Albania immediately. We need to be getting a CB on Albania. They have no allies. They have no allies. We need to get a claim on Albania and get ready to attack them. That's a little bit delayed. We should have done that sooner. We are building up claims on Crimea, so we can get sort of a claim on any of their provinces here, like this one right next to the Crimea that we own, where they're drilling their troops. So we can get a claim on them there to attack them in the future, and we can keep building up more of a spy network there. Albania is willing to join the coalition, but unfortunately, a coalition can only form if there's multiple members, right? Serbia is going to be at -50. That's right on that cusp. So within a year or two, they won't really be that interested in joining. However, if we took land, so I think we're at a crossroads here. We could take all of Byzantium, which would be really, really good in terms of building up unifying our area here and building up our sort of core, and also making it so Byzantium can't be gobbled up by another country. I think it makes sense to do this, but we'll have to sort of sacrifice going to taking anything from Serbia. We'll have to do Serbia in the future. So Serbia, I always like to go to this tab over here, treaties. I know I'm going a little fast on the screen. I kind of take it for granted. But we go to the thing here. We go up to Sue for Peace. And I'm clicking on Serbia's crest here, right? So this is a separate piece. Now big giant Serbia here. Byzantium has nothing to do with this. We are separate piecing Serbia. And I'm going to go to treaties. And I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom and find the war reps. That's just going to give us some income. That's going to have them paying 10% of their income to us all the time. We can also have them break any of their pesky alliances if they have any. But I don't think we really care. We could have them release Montenegro. Kind of crippling them a little bit, breaking them in half. That's kind of interesting. But I think having them unified is fine, especially because they don't really have any important allies or anything. We could have them direct trade to us, but it's important to know this is a diplomatic relation, so we don't really want to tie ourselves up with the diplomat. They're not that important. Them directing trade to us is not that important. Sometimes you might want to do that, but in this case, we're fine. Okay, so we're going to take war reps, but then down here, we can just click here to add money. I know I've gone a little fast with this, and then I can sort of just shift click to go up as much as we can. And there we go. We can do 25 war score of ducats, right? And the amount of ducats that we get is based on kind of like how big of an economy they have. So based on the Serbian economy, we can take 135 ducats, which usually is all that they have built up, and then it also sort of is usually them taking a loan or two to pay that out. So they're basically going to take a couple loans out to pay us, and they're going to be in a dire economic situation, actually, which is kind of good because that'll kind of weaken them as their neighbor. That's totally fine. We'll economically weaken Serbia and also get a little bit of a strengthening of our own economy. Let's do it. Let's get them out of the war. 4 days, our diplomat's going to come back, and we'll peace out Byzantium here. Byzantium is not really going to exist, so we can take their money as well. There we go. So we can take that's all the money that they have, I guess. 88 war score. We've already noticed that no one's really going to care too much about this. We could actually preemptively sort of be buttering up Serbia a little bit and just try to make them a little happy. We'll send our diplomat to go soften Serbia a little bit here, since they're not going to be pleased by this. They're the only country that's really going to care, from what it seems. So let's send a man. This is a little greedy, right? I mean, technically the war was for Constantinople. This province right here, we don't have a claim on it. We have a claim on all this other stuff. We've prepared well to take this land and not have to stretch our diplomacy to do this, right? But we're paying a little diplomatic power to be able to take this extra province. 16 is not that much, considering we're going to be getting that extra power base, right? That's totally fine. Let's grab it. Let's grab it. Byzantium is gone. Byzantium is gone. We have a contiguous connection here into all of this. We have a fort down here that honestly I don't think we really need, because it's just like, this is like the tip of our country. I mean, people are going to be coming from here and they're going to be coming from here. They're not really going to be coming from down here. So I'm going to remove that fort immediately. We have a fort on Constantinople. That's good just because Constantinople's like our capital. Or is it our capital? I think there will be an event or a mission to move it to Constantinople. But right now we'll leave that fort up there just because Constantinople is such an important province. Okay, we have completed a mission. We had a mission for the City of Desire. We had a mission for that. Let's take that mission. That gives us a lot of permanent claims on, so we can go to diplomatic map mode to see those new claims. Booyah. Booyah. We have claims on Oh, is that it? We didn't get free claims on all of these provinces here? I guess I misread that. We have claims on Epirus, though. So we could attack Epirus. They're allied to the Pope. They're allied to the Pope over here. In the diplomatic mode, it highlights the Pope in blue. We're not worried about the Pope. We're a Sunni nation. We couldn't care less about the Pope. So we can go beat up these guys. And the Pope's not going to be able to do much about it because the Pope's not that strong. What we'd rather really prefer is that hopefully these guys don't join like the Empire, right? That would be a bad thing. If they ended up joining the Empire. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Ragusa joining is kind of a problem because now if we want to attack Ragusa, let's just kind of see what happens if we get a diplomat and just say, hey, let's attack Ragusa. Not that we have a reason to attack Ragusa, but let's just pretend. Austria. Austria will join. Austria and Austria's allies will defend Ragusa, essentially. And that Austria is a very, very, very powerful nation at the beginning of the game because they are the emperor. And they are getting an economic and military boost by this empire here. The empire as a whole is giving Austria a lot of physical military power and economic power. Also just a lot of legitimacy and stuff. So Papa Austria will defend Ragusa if we try to attack him at this point. Kind of a bummer, but that's just how it goes. We have a decent amount of overextension. I bet 49%. It's going to really cut into our. It's going to raise national unrest. Which actually is kind of unfortunate because we had those Crimeans that were really not that... We were able to kind of get rid of the Crimeans, but now the Crimeans are like, they're here and they're not going anywhere. Let's get these guys over here to actually deal with the Crimeans. We are going to have some rebellion here. So it looks like these are Byzantium separatists. Actually, we have a different kind of separatist over here. These are different kinds of rebellions, so it's kind of nice that they're all broken into different rebellions. Looks like, ooh... Make Constantinople our capital. We gain a free core on Constantinople, and we gain a huge boost to the problem. Look at all this. We get extra base tax, base production, base manpower, and we're going to become Ottomans are going to become an empire. This is like fundamental to the Ottomans, right? This is core to our culture and our history. But Constantinople is just such an important historical province. Let's go. So we are now. This is our capital, and we got a free core. That's going to reduce our overextension significantly. This is good. But we have to still core this other land that we took, right? We have to core Athens and all this other stuff. This Athens has nothing to do with it. We have removed the remnants of the old Roman Empire. It is now dissolved completely. It is gone, and the Ottoman Empire shall rise. So this is good. This is our capital. This is a beefy province over here. Did that actually give us a Renaissance? It gave us a little bit of a Renaissance boost, actually. It gave us a little bit of a Renaissance boost. If we continue to develop in these provinces, we'll actually be getting 5% Renaissance for every button click in these provinces. Wowzers, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's only going to cost us 55 to develop, although we haven't talked about state edicts. So if we're ever having trouble, actually we did, didn't we? No, we didn't. No, we didn't. I didn't do it. State edicts, if you go to the state of Thrace here, we can say view edicts, and these are things that we can actually specialize our own provinces. We can actually make it so it's cheaper to develop. We can make it cheaper to actually increase the development of this province, which is good because that saves us monarch points, because these cost us the monarch points up here, which are incredibly precious. So making that cheaper before we develop Constantinople, that makes sense. We can also increase local trade power. That's really good too for areas that are particularly important to trade. Increase enlistment so we can gain more manpower. We can reduce monthly autonomy change, in places that we need to stomp the autonomy out. We can enforce religious unity. So many good things, right? There's so many good things we can do there. Speaking of religious unity, what's the situation with that? Yeah, these guys are still Orthodox here. Now, I don't believe that's going to be contributing negatively to this, right? Because the Dhimmi are in charge. The Dhimmi are in charge, so... this land here is basically all good to go. The Dhimmi is getting some good influence. The Dhimmi is our go-between, right? It's our political faction that is maintaining peace amongst the Orthodox states in our country, and we're also benefiting from those heathens, right? Our elite units are specifically coming from the Orthodox states. Constantinople is a good Sunni province, though, which is kind of nice. So it is unified in our core country's position idealistically. But actually, yeah, so we can go here and we can actually view edicts. We can enable encourage development. Great. And we can actually boost this up. We can hit some buttons here, and we can actually try to get some Renaissance progress. Now, it's going to be, if we look at our technologies and we think about this for a second, we're a little behind on admin and diplo. So those are kind of like our most valuable right now. Military, we actually have a little bit of an abundance of military. Part of that is also because we're focused, our national focus is on military. We have an amazing military leader. We might want to change that. We might want to actually move this to administrative power. Now that military is sort of stabilized and we're already well ahead of our neighbors militarily, this might make sense to go administrative. Because as we conquer, right, we're noticing that it's costing a lot of administrative, this is all administrative power costs, right? It's costing us more administrative power in order to boost up and take land, right? When we conquer land, we need to spend administrative power to integrate that. So that's a huge cost that will add up as we continue to conquer like Karaman, as we can continue to conquer into Serbia, as we continue to conquer these guys, and so on, right? And so on. So moving to and we're a little bit further behind on administrative technology than we are on military technology. Okay. So knowing that administrative power and diplomatic power are a little bit more valuable to us right now because we're behind on those technologies, let's actually develop, oh, it's actually saying, it's 80 to develop these provinces. Eesh. It's kind of expensive, but it's going to give us good progress. Our capital gets a number of good positive. Capital city minus 21%, yeah. Every time we hit these buttons, we're getting 5% Renaissance, so we only have to hit these buttons like 15 times maybe, because that number is going to increase as we hit it more. So we should be able to actually get this kind of done if I just sort of hit this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we start working on it with military. Each of these is adding 6% Renaissance. Unfortunately, though, we're not quite there, but basically our military power is going to get shuffled into this, right? And we're going to have to hit this how many more times? We don't have enough. Rip. So we didn't quite get there. This will grow a little bit on its own, but we do ultimately need to get this done before we tech up. So our military power is going to build up, and we're going to be spending military power to get more Renaissance progress. Constantinople is a very beautiful city. At 39 development, it is a fantastic beacon of the world right now. In fact, we were talking the other episode about age goals, right? We're in the age of discovery. We humiliated a rival. That gave us a bunch of power projection, but it actually gave us an age objective. And if we finish 3 of these, we can actually start a golden age. But you can only start a golden age once per game. So you might not want to use it during the age of discovery. You might want to use it during the age of Reformation, or the age of absolutism, or the age of revolutions. You know, if there's ever like a tough situation, you really need that golden age to give you that extra boost militarily. Power costs, global goods produced, all kinds of good stuff, right? All kinds of good stuff come from this. But really what we're doing is by getting these done, we're earning more splendor. Okay, we're earning more splendor. As we earn more splendor, we can spend it down here to unlock age bonuses. And we're not even going to talk about any of these because we haven't earned enough splendor yet. We need 800. But we've completed some of the objectives to be able to earn splendor more quickly. So because we've completed 2 of those objectives, we're now actually going to be able to get +1 as a base and then +2 from the fulfilled objectives. Perfect. It does say that we're actually making some decent progress on this one here. One of the things is to embrace the Renaissance. We haven't done that yet. We're working on that. The other thing here is to control centers of trade, to have level 2 centers of trade. Now, Constantinople, definitely we want that to be a level 2 center of trade. So we can spend money to actually boost this. We should have done that before. That makes it a little cheaper to develop. Whoops, that was a mistake. We made that level 2 though. We made that level 2, that gets us to 4. That cost us 200 gold. If we go to our trade capital here, we can look and see, oh, Athens. We have Athens now. We could work on that, getting that to level 2. Looks like this is a trade center here on Albania, so we're going to want to conquer that. This one's already level 2. This one's already level 2. This one's, I'm seeing a little Roman numeral 2 right there, right? This one is not level 2. And so we could pay 200 ducats to get this, but we're not quite there yet. We only have 80 ducats. How are we doing economically? In fact, actually, I want to take a look at that screen after the next month ticks. We've just done a big boost of Rooney to Constantinople, so I'm assuming the economic prosperity of our country is going to go up massively, massively. We still have 40. Autonomy just went to 0. Amazing. Autonomy just went to 0 in Constantinople. That is huge. That is huge. I think we said we wanted to sell some ships. Who might want to buy some? Venice, do you want to buy some? Austria might buy some. Austria might buy some. Let's send them up here and see if Austria wants to buy these transports. Basically, this is kind of a goofy little economic interaction you can do, but I'm just going to detach. I'm going to detach some of the ships here into smaller sort of units of product to sell, and smaller. Austria doesn't like us. They don't want to buy ships from us. Let's see if they want to buy ships anyways. Sell ship? No. They're rival to us. They totally don't care. What about the Pope? Pope likes us. Why does the Pope like us? Pope, you want some ships? No. They don't want any ships. Ferrara? Who likes us over here? Hey, Ferrara will buy some ships. They'll pay 30 ducats for 2 cogs. I think usually it's only like 10. Isn't it 20 ducats to make one or something? Heck yeah. Let's sell that to Ferrara. There you go, Ferrara. Good luck to you. Venice. I don't think our ships are close enough to sell them to Venice. Croatia, do you want to buy some ships? This is usually not important, but we're just sort of getting a little bit of money from these, right? Instead of disbanding them, and when you disband ships, you don't really get anything from that. Croatia's not doing well economically. Naples doesn't really like us that much. Ragusa actually doesn't mind us, although I don't think Ragusa is going to need more ships. We'll see. They might kind of surprise us here. There you go. They'll buy some ships. Hey, look at that. We're selling some ships. Albania, would you like some ships? No, Albania doesn't like us. Aragon doesn't like us. That's fine. You know, let's keep this one. Let's keep this one. We're now no longer over our naval force limit. In fact, actually, I bet you our naval force limit has gone way up anyways, but I'd rather replace these with lights, right? I'd rather pay for, like, and build light ships. Speaking of which, we can take our light ships with our admiral, and while we're at peace, we can protect trade. We haven't talked about this yet. So, okay, a little bit quick there. Hey, let's get this stuff out of our face. I apologize, guys. There's always so many things going on screen. It's so easy to take for granted what's going on. Let's get this out of the way. Land theft. The interesting thing is, let's go to the estate screen, because this is an estate mission or an event. I wouldn't mind actually sort of stealing. See, if these guys right here could get happy, that could be good. If we can give them 1% land. Okay, that kind of balances them out here, but I think what we want to do is we actually want to seize land. And the reason we want to do that is because some of these interactions actually require giving away crownland. So we need to build up our own crownland, because we don't want that to go below 30%. So naturally, if I give 10% of our crownland away, we'll be at 26%. We'll get some negative penalties. Now that does reduce their happiness in the short term, right? We talked about this, but the equilibrium is 60%. That means these guys they're not unhappy. At 30%, they're fine. Anything above 30%, these guys are fine. So they're not unhappy, but they're trending up to a much happier state. We can also do an agenda, which will increase their influence and also increase their loyalty in a general sense. We'll bring them to the court and have them voice their concerns. And this will give us a little mission that we can work on here. It says it wants to do something, Constantinople base tax of 17. That's very expensive, but that would get us, that is, we want to develop Constantinople. That's something we're actively trying to do because of the Renaissance, right? So we're actively trying to develop this. I just wasn't really planning on doing it with base tax. That's the problem here. What do we get if we complete this? We get some prestige. No, we don't care about prestige. Over here it says manpower at least 90%. So basically the nobility wants us to just generate a bunch of manpower. That'll take a long time to do that, to be honest. It takes about 10 years to build up manpower. We're already not, it's not that we're at 0% manpower though, so it won't take that long to get it. It'll probably take like 6 years to get up there without really losing any, right? Just sort of passively building it. That'll give us a level 3 dude at 50% cost. That's still pretty expensive to hire a level 3 guy. Then here they want us to just build up a bunch of money. They want us to have 1,000 ducats just in the treasury. It's See, these are all very difficult to do. What do we get for this? We just make them happy. That's terrible. I don't care about their happiness that much. Let's do this because we'll get a advisor that I think will be able to be utilized. Maybe in like 10 years we'll be able to afford that guy. I don't know. This is just what says passively we will be gaining manpower. We should be gaining a lot. We're getting 500 per month. It should only take us like 6 years to do that. We have 10 years to complete, or sorry, 20 years to complete the agenda. 20 years to complete that agenda, so that's fine. We could sell our land to make money, but we don't want to do this because we're trying to take back. That would actually push us into the negative crownland. We have a lot of these policies here. All this looks good. I don't think there's anything to do there. We've set it and forget it a lot of the times with a lot of that stuff. I'm kind of thinking there's too many dudes standing over here, so can we get some of these guys off of this location? That would be great. And where do we want to position our guys now? These 20,000, I think they're coming over to Crimea to take care of this rebellion, right? Perfect, 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 perfect. Oh, that's right, guys, we're getting distracted. I apologize. We're talking about our navy. What can we do with our navy while we're at peace? Well, we could take our light ships, give them the admiral, because that little maneuverability helps them protect trade. We can go to mission, select a mission, protect trade, and we can protect trade in Constantinople. Alternatively, we could actually, and it says that we're actually not going to quite really it's not going to make that much of a difference because we already dominate Constantinople. Speaking of Constantinople, why is there not like six and a half ducats here? What the heck? What the heck? Because we're removing some of the other countries that have been pushing into these zones, we actually don't have as much money coming in here. Byzantium was helping pull money into Constantinople. Now that Byzantium is gone, we've actually kind of lowered the amount of money that Constantinople matters less, which is kind of unfortunate. But that'll balance out over time. We really need to conquer more of Aleppo, because if we had Aleppo, then we'd be able to really be pushing this along here. If we conquered more of Crimea, we'd be able to push along down here. If we'd conquer more of Alexandria, which is more in the future, we'd really be able to take there's a lot of money down here, and only a small amount of it is coming up to Constantinople. So if we send our ships to protect in Aleppo, it'll actually make a significant difference. Or we could send it to Alexandria. It'll make even more of a difference. Yeah, Alexandria is the way to do this. Send it because it just tells you there. It gives you a summary. So we're protecting trade in Alexandria with our light fleet. And our galleys and our transports are just kind of hanging out. Now the transports actually, right? We know the transports can come up here and get these guys shuttled over to Crimea. We are still building a claim on Crimea. We're building a claim on Albania. I think we said we wanted to butter up Serbia a touch. We could still do that. Although I'm thinking Theodoro, right? We're going to want to claim on Theodoro as well. I think once we get our next claim on Crimea, we could probably bring them back. Of course, once we get the claim on Albania, this is the only Albanian province that exists in the game. So once we get that province, then we won't need to keep that spy network with them. We have a means to go to war with these guys. We could just go straight into war with these guys, and that might be the play. That might be the decision here. Let's actually sort of just set up for that war. We also want to attack Karaman, and once we get our diplomat back, we'll be able to kind of see what's going on there. But for now, let's shuttle these guys over to Crimea. Because we don't have military access, right? Like there's multiple countries here. This is like a little island for our nation. So I'm bringing them back. I'm grabbing the troops. I'm just saying attach to transport. Of course, it's going to try to transport as many at a time as it can, which in this case is only, 11. There we go. We have 20,000 troops on this province. Let's see how we're doing with the unrest. Is that enough to break it down? Ooh, we're so close. We're so close. We still have war exhaustion, though. That's going to be going away a little bit, too. There we go. A tick between the month. The war exhaustion ticked down. Some other factors ticked down. Other things have happened, and we are officially getting rid of the Crimean separatists. There is no rebellion going on with the Crimeans. Fantastic. Fantastic. We're very close to being able to get the CB on Albania. We don't have a truce with Albania because they're a nation that's been respawned. So we'll be able to actually just swoop in and take Albania without even blinking. That'll be a very quick war. I think we'll want to do that soon. We also want to attack these guys. It'll be kind of interesting to see here. The Pope will join. Pope's in debt right now. Pope's in debt. If the Pope ends up getting into a battle, they might not want to defend, but even if they do defend, it's not going to make a difference. Looks like a little nation up here, Cilia, has joined a trade league. Not a big deal. Not concerned about that. We have a good amount of money right in here. We could build some buildings. In fact, Constantinople is a beautiful city to build some buildings. We're going to get a lot of ducats from building that building in Constantinople right there. Holy cow. That is going to be nice. That is going to be fantastic. We do want to attack these guys. Using our diplomat, I can just go here, declare war, see what the situation is. Crimea will join. AQ will join and Crimea will join. Interesting. Interesting. Well, we could, again, we could go to Ledger to learn more about these countries. Level 3 technology. That's significantly behind us. We're at level 5 military technology. Crimea and AQ are at level 4 at least, but man, these guys here are very weak. Very weak. Very weak. Interesting. If we go back into this screen here, it should just give us an estimation of the troop counts that we'd be fighting. 12,000 total troops. Holy cow, AQ doesn't even have any troops. They only have 2,000 cav. That's it. That's their entire army. Crimea has 7,000 troops. We know that they're basically just sitting over here. They were drilling a second ago, but they seem to be doing their thing. I'm kind of interested to take these ships over here and just do a little scouting mission. See if we could spot the Crimeans doing something with it, if they're doing anything interesting with their troops or not. Yeah, they're hiding. They're hiding as far back as they can. They might be drilling, they might not be drilling. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Okay, we have the means of getting the claims here. That's a claim on Crimea, another one. That is a claim on Albania. And I honestly think there's no reason not to just immediately attack Albania before they get an alliance. Okay, we have to wait a second for the CB to come in. We'll get our dudes in position. I don't even think they have an army. I don't think they have a navy. Unfortunately for them, they were released, right? Byzantium won the war against Venice and chose to release this province that is an Albanian core in the war. Yeah, unfortunately that war is over. That was the quickest war you've ever seen. That was the quickest war you have ever seen. Let's drop 4,000 dudes here. And I'm going to do that by moving 6,000 over. That's going to leave the general behind. The general is always on the left side of that map, that screen. The general is a good sieger, so we'll have him just kind of hang out there. I think what we're going to want to do, though, is get our combat fleet, our galleys over here, chilling in this sea province, and get ready to attack these guys, which we'll call in the Pope. Also, to let us spy on this island right here to see if their army is just, yeah, their army is sitting on the island. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. So I think we're going to be attacking these guys pretty soon, because that's going to finish up the mission, right? Privateering in somewhere. We don't really care about Serbia's... Well, we actually worked on Serbia's opinion a little bit, didn't we? We could search for this particular area. K-U-T-A-H-Y. Yeah, the game knows that... I mean, obviously we're not typing this crazy U, but the game kind of knows what's going on here. So we can get extra goods produced. Or we can get local trade trade issues, or extra trade at the cost of goods produced. I think we're just going to boost goods produced here. I think that'll be fine. We'll give a positive benefit, and we won't make Serbia upset. It's going to be totally fine. If we look at our trade situation now, we should be making, I don't know, we're making more money overall, but man, Constantinople is looking very drab right now at only 7 ducats. I mean, compare that to Venice, right? Genoa's 13 ducats. Venice is 11 ducats. Alexandria is 6 ducats plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. Like, a lot of it's getting snatched, but there's a lot of money moving through Alexandria. Not nearly as much money moving out of Venice. Some of it's getting pulled on, though, by this region, right? These countries in this region, Serbia, these guys down here, Venice, right? A lot of these countries that have power in this Ragusan region, including Ragusa, are pulling money from Constantinople. There's 3 ducats that are escaping out of here. Kind of a problem, kind of annoying. That's how it goes, though. We don't need these spy networks here anymore. I think we said we wanted to kind of maybe get one on Theodora, though, to have that flexibility. So building a spy network on Theodora, which is a little purple Orthodox nation right there. We can continue to build on Venice. Actually, that could make a lot of sense, because we realize we're not getting free claims on these areas. I thought we were going to get a bunch of free claims over here, but that never happened. The Knights are here, too. This is a little country down here. It's easy to kind of forget about them, but they're there, too. So we could try to make a claim on them. We could make a claim on Cyprus as well. There's a number of little island countries and stuff that we could try to solidify and unify. But for the most part, guys, we're winning a war against we're winning a simple war against Albania. That's not really costing us much. We're beating down some rebellion over here, and it looks like that rebellion is gone. These guys can come home. Although, here's the thing, if we attack Karaman, we'll be at war with Crimea, so we could leave these troops up here preemptively, depending on whether or not we're going to attack these guys next. So those guys can just hang out there, because we don't need them to win wars over in this region. We have a war against Epirus here soon. Epirus? And then we probably go into a war with Karaman, because if we go back to our mission screen here, just to kind of sort of mentally sort of consolidate what's going on here, is yeah, we have a province, we have a mission to take these two provinces. That'll involve conquering Greece. Then we get a mission to conquer Serbia. So it's good that we waited for that, because that mission will help us conquer Serbia. But the other thing we're working on is consolidate Asia Minor, and that means going to war with Karaman. So I think this is what we're going to do. We're going to finish Greece. We're going to come over here and beat up Karaman. And those are going to be how we sort of progress. And the reality is, guys, at this point, it's kind of rinse and repeat. It's kind of rinse and repeat. Glad we never allied these guys, because they are getting ravaged by the Mamluks. The Mamluks are just coming in here and just smacking around these guys. Oh, these guys did end up taking a lot of land down here, right? But it looks like the Mamluks are going to undo that right now. Looks like they are going to be undoing that. Kind of interesting. The Mamluks are kind of scary looking, to be honest. Kind of scary, but so are we. So are we. All right, guys. We will be back. Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode. I will see you guys in the next one. That's looking like a nice consolidated Ottomans right there. It's looking very pretty. Let's be back in the next episode, where we are kind of just continuing on. Just kind of doing our thing here, guys. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I'll see you guys in the next one.